culture is competitive, man.
Right.
It is, but I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand that. Like right now, he's not even competing for a slot. You don't have a new song out that he want to be on the top 10 or top 5, and you still competing.
First of all, that vote is fake as f. That's not a real vote. That's not a real vote. They give it to who they want to give it to. They give it to their darlings.
Music royalty, industry icons, the ultimate power couple. For years, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have worn those crowns without question, celebrated for their achievements, accolades, and wealth. But behind the glimmering trophies and sold-out stadiums, rumors keep surfacing, stories about sabotaged careers, shady business moves, and a hidden power structure that doesn't always play fair. More and more voices are stepping forward, from 50 Cent to Eminem, from former allies to background singers. They're all painting a picture that's far different from the glossy perfection we usually see.
Well, it's my soulmate, it's the person I love, you know, and you can be in love with someone, you can love someone and if you haven't experienced love and you don't understand it and you don't have the tools to move forward, then you're gonna have complications, period.
So the burning question is, how much of Jay-Z and Beyoncé's success is due to genuine talent and hard work, and how much is fueled by behind-the-scenes control? We know these two have built empires, shaped the culture, and inspired generations, yet controversy has followed them every step of the way. Were these just small bumps on the path to stardom, or are they signs of a much darker system that ruthlessly eliminates any potential threats? In the next few minutes, you're going to hear allegations from artists who claim their biggest obstacles weren't rival labels or a fickle fan base, but Jay-Z and Beyoncé themselves. Some call it paranoia, others see it as competition run wild.
And if you can either address it or you can pretend until it blows up at some point. And, you know, for us, we chose to fight for our love, for our family, to give our kids a different outcome.
But one thing is clear, the more stories that leak, the more the Carters' carefully polished armor begins to show some cracks. Let's dive into the massive web of rumors, accusations, and confessions. We'll start with 50 Cent, who claims Jay-Z has tried time and again to block him from major opportunities. Then we'll move on to Eminem and his bold stance against the Grammys, a stance that ties right back to how the Carters allegedly manipulate award shows for their own benefit. From there, we'll explore the stories of female artists who say Beyoncé herself orchestrated campaigns to silence their voices and stifle their careers.
You can't really address something that's not revealed. He's bringing out an ugly side of America that we wanted to believe was gone.
Finally, we'll travel back in time to revisit the unsettled controversies swirling around Jay-Z's earliest days, highlighting how suspicious incidents always seemed to happen when he stood on the verge of a career breakthrough. Along the way, remember that most of these allegations are shrouded in secrecy. Maybe it's all a grand conspiracy, or perhaps it's just the cost of competing with two of the biggest names on the planet. Whichever you believe, these stories keep popping up from different corners, each adding new evidence to an unsettling puzzle. By the end, you might question if Jay-Z and Beyoncé are truly unstoppable icons or cunning power players.
And it's still here, and we still got to deal with it. And we have to have the conversation. We have to have tough conversation. We have to talk about the N-word, and we have to talk about why white men are so privileged in this country.
Who never hesitate to wield their influence behind the scenes. Let's begin. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has never been shy about calling people out, especially Jay-Z. But what started as a rivalry fueled by diss tracks and snide comments has erupted into broader allegations of manipulation on a grand scale. 50 Cent claims that Jay-Z, leveraging his partnership with the NFL, tried to block him from appearing at the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show. According to 50, Jay used his sway behind the scenes to keep certain artists off the stage, even if that meant diminishing the show's potential star power.
It's not the project, it's James. James is just a genius, and you know, we did The Harder They Fall Together, and that was we're gonna do a bunch of projects. We got a bunch of projects in the pipeline as well.
But if Jay-Z really wanted 50 Cent nowhere near the halftime spotlight, he miscalculated. Eminem, who credits 50 for multiple career wins and sees him as a longtime ally, was apparently ready to walk if 50 wasn't included. This wasn't just hearsay. Insiders close to the NFL arrangement hinted that M gave a clear ultimatum: no 50, no Slim Shady. Ultimately, 50 Cent appeared during that iconic hip-hop set, dropping in, literally upside down, and proving he couldn't be pushed aside. In a more recent interview, 50 returned to these claims with even sharper words. He alleges that Jay-Z's attempts to minimize him haven't been restricted to music or performance gigs.
We most absolutely showed up, but was never represented as shown on the big screen.
You really read the words. You knew we were there.
Exactly.
In 50's view, Jay tries to derail any big move that might give 50 a level up in brand or influence. Although 50 acknowledges Jay-Z's achievements, he points out that Jay doesn't need to compete musically anymore, yet supposedly continues playing gatekeeper, deciding who rises and who stays stuck. This leads some to wonder if 50's just stirring the pot to stay relevant. After all, controversy has always been part of his brand, yet the story gained traction once Eminem's own stance aligned with 50's narrative. When M stands beside you, people pay attention because Slim Shady's voice in the industry is nearly impossible to dismiss. But that wasn't the whole story. As these claims circulated, other artists started sharing tales of Jay-Z's behind-the-scenes blocking, reinforcing the idea
You can't control the future. I mean, you can control it up to some point. You can't control what others do. You can't control anything. Someone can run a red light, and that's the end of everything.
that if Jay sees you as a potential threat, your phone calls might stop getting returned, your projects might get mysteriously delayed, and your deals might suddenly fall apart. For over a decade, Eminem has been vocal about one major grievance. The Grammys are not won by pure talent or critical merit, but by politics and backdoor deals. He's rapped about it, talked about it in interviews, and even refused to attend certain award ceremonies. In one of his most telling interviews, Eminem explained how the Recording Academy repeatedly invites him, hypes him up to boost ratings, and then hands the trophies to someone else. In his eyes, it's a cycle of exploitation that feeds the show's own prestige without honoring the best album or best artist. Enter Jay-Z and Beyoncé. As powerhouses who never fail to bring major buzz,
You know, you only can control what you can control. So things don't happen to you, they happen for you. So when you look at those situations, I had a similar situation with my pop not being around as well.
they became central figures in these award show politics. 50 Cent has hammered the point home, accusing the Carters of wielding their star power to ensure they're always in the mix for nominations. The logic seems simple. If the Grammys know the Carters are coming, that means sky-high ratings and viral moments on social media. So keep nominating them, keep giving them that gold, and both sides benefit from the glamour. While some fans argue that Jay and Beyoncé truly deserve those awards, others point to suspicious patterns. For instance, Jay ranted on stage about the Grammys snubbing Beyoncé one year, only for her to earn a top prize the next. Instead of celebrating, Jay spent his acceptance speech criticizing the very people who just honored him. To many viewers, it felt like a staged performance meant to look rebellious while still collecting a trophy. Eminem, meanwhile, has made it clear that he has no intention of playing these games. He's stated he'd be fine losing if it were to someone with a legitimately better album, like Kanye West in his prime. But that's not what bothers him. What infuriates him is the sense that winners are often chosen based on marketing plans. Yet it's not just M making noise. 50 backs him up, pointing to the peculiar spike in Jay-Z's Grammy count after he tied the knot with Beyoncé. The suspicion, by combining their celebrity, the Carters became an award show juggernaut nobody dares to overlook. But there's more. Beneath the awards, drama lies a far murkier question. Is this purely about status, or a deliberate strategy to outshine and overshadow any rival? With so many artists saying the system is rigged, Jay and Bey's frequent wins fuel all kinds of conspiracy talk, especially when other deserving contenders go home empty-handed year after year. Jay-Z has faced criticism from male peers, but Beyoncé has an equally long list of female contemporaries who claim their careers were stifled or derailed due to her influence. Every time Beyoncé ascends to a new peak, whether it's with a chart-topping single or a show-stopping performance, someone in the background is left lamenting missed opportunities and unexplained setbacks. One prime example is Amerie, whose breakthrough track, One Thing, had that infectious, go-go-inspired sound. Not long afterward, Beyoncé's Crazy in Love arrived with a similar brass-driven energy. Producer Rich Harrison, credited with Amerie's hottest records, famously shifted his focus to Beyoncé around the same period. Many fans believe that's no coincidence. Ameri was on the verge of becoming a household name, but her momentum fizzled as soon as Harrison left her side for Beyoncé's camp. Carrie Hilson is another name that keeps cropping up. She was rumored to have recorded a diss track slamming Beyoncé, though Hilson herself said she was manipulated into those lyrics. After the track leaked, Hilson's image took a beating. Later, she refused to hold up a magazine featuring Jay and Bey on the cover, sparking a massive backlash from Beyoncé's loyal following. The so-called Beyhive swarmed her social media, and her reputation never fully recovered. While Hilson admitted she was cornered into participating in this drama, it didn't matter. Industry insiders whisper that being on Beyoncé's bad side is like being on an unofficial blacklist. Then there's the Kelis incident, where Beyoncé sampled Kelis's iconic Milkshake in her own album. Without so much as a phone call, Kelis only discovered it when fans tagged her online, celebrating the new sample. Angered by the lack of respect and communication, Kelis publicly called out the no soul or integrity moves, saying it wasn't just a business oversight. In her eyes, it was an example of how top-tier artists steamroll those beneath them. No matter how you slice it, there's a recurring theme. People who cross paths with Beyoncé often find their careers stalled or drastically altered afterward. While some chalk it up to chance, others see a pattern that keeps repeating, a pattern where only one queen is allowed to dominate the entire stage. But that's not the end of the story. From Mia to Carrie Hilson, there are more testimonies. The consistent storyline: if you don't play by the Carters' rules, or if you somehow threaten their position, your path to stardom might get abruptly cut off. These whispers of sabotage go back long before the era of social media. Some claim the seeds were planted back in Jay-Z's earliest years. A major figure in these rumors is the late Big L, a Harlem lyricist who was on the cusp of massive success when he was tragically taken out in a drive-by. Jaguar Wright, a vocalist who once worked closely with Jay-Z, has raised suspicions that Big L's death conveniently removed a direct competitor, helping Jay rise unchallenged in the local rap scene. That's not to say there's any hard proof Jay-Z orchestrated something so extreme. Still, every time someone tries to piece together the timeline, they notice that Jay-Z's career soared in moments when other promising rappers were sidelined or worse. Jaguar Wright goes further, alleging that many individuals around Jay suddenly met with career-ending or life-ending incidents right when Jay stood to benefit from their absence. It's a sobering thing to consider, especially when you factor in how quickly Jay became a mogul after these tragedies. DMX also brought accusations to the table. He believed Jay harbored jealousy toward him, and when Jay later became president of Def Jam, that tension got personal. DMX complained that his album Year of the Dog, again, saw delays and poor promotion, which he attributes to Jay wanting to stage his own comeback without competition. DMX's grievances were summarized in his track, The Industry, painting a picture of an environment controlled by gatekeepers who decide which artists soar and which ones languish in limbo. But it doesn't stop there. Beanie Siegel, once part of Jay's Rockefeller label, has a similar story. Each time Beanie announced a release date, Jay-Z supposedly dropped his own album right on top of it, hogging the spotlight. This repeated overshadowing left Beanie feeling perpetually sidelined, like he was only allowed to go so far before getting shut down. Looking back, Beanie acknowledges his own mistakes, including run-ins with the law, but remains adamant that Jay-Z's strategic moves were an undeniable factor in his stalled trajectory. One of the most chilling chapters in these allegations involves Beyoncé's former bodyguard, Uncle Ron. Before he passed from pneumonia, he publicly claimed that he had receipts, concrete evidence, of the Carters destroying careers and threatening lives. While skeptics question the authenticity of his threats, the story took on a life of its own when Uncle Ron died, not long after making those claims. Some say it was just a tragic coincidence. Others believe there's more to it, especially given his ominous warnings that he knew too much. Uncle Ron's statements echoed the sentiments of countless others. The Carters supposedly maintain their status by ensuring no real competition emerges, whether that means legal intimidation, controlling label politics, or influencing radio play. The allegations are always the same. Jay and Beyoncé's empire is like a fortress guarded from every angle. Additionally, rumors suggest that even lawsuits brought against Jay-Z have a mysterious habit of vanishing. One particularly bizarre case involved a Jane Doe accusing Jay of serious misconduct, only for her to suddenly go silent. Various insiders suggest hush money or backdoor deals, with some even recounting visits from unnamed representatives who made sure the allegations never gained traction. But the threads continue weaving a larger tapestry. With so many individuals speaking up and facing swift consequences, it's hard not to wonder if all these incidents are part of a grand design, or maybe the Carters are just magnets for controversy because of their unparalleled success, drawing out every disgruntled acquaintance or employee looking for a headline. Either way, the list of accusers keeps growing, and their collective story is that something deeper is amiss. When you zoom out, the allegations surrounding Jay-Z and Beyoncé make for a dizzying spectacle: Grammy manipulation, career sabotage, hush money, overshadowed releases, and even mysterious exits from the industry. For years, the Carters have maintained a pristine public image, philanthropic, sophisticated, always pushing cultural boundaries, yet the shadows keep growing. Are these just tall tales by embittered rivals, or is there a genuine undercurrent of intimidation beneath their success? From 50 Cent's frank interviews to Eminem's war on the Grammys, from Jaguar Wright's chilling recollections to Kellis's anger over stolen samples, the puzzle pieces form a disturbing mosaic. Maybe Jay and Beyoncé are just extraordinary at playing a game everyone in the industry plays. But according to the ones calling them out, the Carters have turned that game into a fortress, heavily guarded, influential at every level, and nearly impossible to penetrate. So where do you stand? Are Jay-Z and Beyoncé unstoppable icons who earned their thrones through real skill and unwavering focus? Or is their success at least partly maintained by blocking potential threats behind the scenes? With so many testimonies lining up, it's hard to ignore the possibility that something bigger is going on. But until there's undeniable proof, we may never know for certain. What we do know is that as more voices speak out, that flawless image gets tougher to maintain. The next time the Carters grab headlines, whether for a new business venture or yet another shiny award, ask yourself who didn't get that slot instead. And if you have more names and stories to add to this ongoing conversation, drop them below. After all, an empire built on shaky foundations can only stand as long as no one dares to shake it.